video. My name is Wood. Jumping on here with some bite down boxing uh, updates. The most important thing to consider this weekend, I guess, from in my opinion. First of all, please support the channel. If you bet on sports, boxing in particular is bet on quite a bit. But if you could choose betus.com.pa, betus.com.pa for your wagering needs, and then create an account using promo code JOIN125. It can help me out. This weekend, it's so right. I've been saying, right now in boxing, we can go 2, 3, maybe even 4 weeks without really checking in on the sport. For a lot of people, some of these names week to week really don't move the needle, and nobody cares about some of these fights. The fighters aren't popular enough. Um, it is what it is. Everybody's not a superstar. But and sometimes you got to dig into the boxing calendar to find, you know, who the to find good fights, to find the best fights that are available, that are being made. And I do think an interesting figure is fighting this weekend, in undisputed junior welterweight champion Josh Taylor. He's fighting his mandatory, Jack Catterall, who's also a European. But Taylor, for me, has proven himself to be a pretty good fighter. I think he's in the bottom end of my he's at the bottom end of my pound for pound top 10, I believe. I haven't really Everybody's fighting so sporadically right now. A pound for pound list is kind of difficult to make. But obviously, one of the few undisputed fighters in the game. Off the top of my head, I know Canelo at 168. Are those the only two men right now? Yeah, kind of. I think that might be it. A couple on the women's side. I feel like I'm missing somebody. Anyway, I've only seen Catterall fight a little bit. He seems to be a pretty decent boxer. The height, I saw a stare down yesterday. The height differential isn't all that noticeable. Josh Taylor's a very well-rounded fighter. He can bang. He can fight inside. He's got some dog in him, in my opinion. Likes to mix it up. I like his demeanor as a fighter. I don't know if Catterall is a big enough puncher. I've seen Taylor, stop some guys, and like I said, I think he's a pretty good fighter. I would even dare to say an excellent fighter. So the important thing about that, if you want to watch that fight, is one, it's on ESPN Plus, so you'd have to have access to ESPN's streaming app, which I get through the package, with Disney Plus and Hulu. I don't even use Hulu either. I need to check out that second season of Wu-Tang. But yeah, that's the biggest one for me this week. And then secondly, the most important thing about that card is 2 p.m. Eastern time for us here in the States. They're fighting in Glasgow, Scotland. I don't think it's Glasgow. With Taylor, the Tartan Tornado, being a Scottish fighter. And like I said, it's for all the marbles at 140. I just read an article where Taylor was still optimistic about there being a way for him and Terrence Crawford to be able to fight in light of Crawford's pending lawsuit against Top Rank. I don't know how that's possible, but Taylor seems to be optimistic about that happening. The card, though, itself, I think 2 p.m. Eastern time is when it starts. But I think you'll have some time to burn, some time to kill before the main event starts. And I'm not gonna front. Some of these fights, some of these cards, these overseas cards, these cards from foreign locales, these undercards are a task to watch. They're a chore to watch for most boxing fans. I do see a familiar name in featherweight, Robisa Ramirez on here against Eric Donovan. That's the only other name. I've seen Patty Donovan. I've seen him before, welterweight. He's on there. I don't. Yeah, I've seen him before. But yeah, you probably have some time to kill before Josh Taylor and Jack Catterall. I think the fight is going to be pretty decent. I'm not trying to sell you on this as a clash. It's not appointment TV, but I think it's going to be a pretty decent fight. And I want to see what, I kind of want to see what Taylor's about, staying power wise. So I'm going to check that one out. Again, 2 p.m. Eastern time is when the card starts. You might have an hour and a half or 2 hours to kill before they get around to the main event. The other interesting fight out here this weekend on Showtime, like I said, Chris Colbert and Roger Gutierrez fell apart. Gutierrez is a title holder, so that would have been a big moment for Chris Colbert. Prime time. He's got this new guy, this replacement in here, Hector Luis Garcia. He's 14-0 and sounds determined. Colbert gets to work. Some fighters ain't even getting to work right now. So, and I liked Colbert the last time I saw him. And I think Colbert is a really personable guy. Has some showman in him. He's at super featherweight. Pretty good division. Some good talent there. They're just spread across the different promotional entities. So we don't know if any of those. And actually, Gutierrez is a Golden Boy guy. So, but they had worked that out. So it's unfortunate that Colbert loses this shot at a title. I'm not sure if that was a world title or one of the secondary belts or whatever, but it was a title. Also on this card is super flyweight Jerwin and Cajas, and he's taking on Fernando Martinez. I kind of, and Cajas has been kind of, his career for me has been kind of choppy. I'd watch it though. He's the IBF Superfly title holder. What is interesting on here is that Gary Antoine Russell at just 14-0 is taking on Victor Postol. We've seen Postol against Jose Ramirez. We've seen Postol against Crawford. We've seen Postol against a couple. What was that last? I don't know. Ramirez. But Postol is he's 31-3 and a fairly good boxer. He does present an excellent challenge for Gary Antoine Russell. So I think that's an awesome step up fight for him. I'd like to check that out. The other names on here really don't jump out to me. Super bantamweight Angel Barrientos. He's 7-1. He was the Barrientos brother. Obviously, the other one I think is still undefeated. Barrientos got knocked out like 2 or 3 fights ago. It was kind of made to be one of those embarrassing moments for the PBC, who got one of their youngsters, they overmatched him or something, and it was, whatever. But he's fighting this weekend. So that, like I said, I want to see what Gary Antoine Russell does against this experienced Victor Postol. And then we actually have a card Sunday on the Zone. Cruiserweight Lawrence Okolie against Michael Cieslak. I think is how you pronounce it. Okolie is the WA Cruiserweight champion. I was very down on Okolie as a talent, as somebody, as one to watch for and whatnot. He did very good against that wasn't Bradis who he just fought. It was Klowaski. He was an experienced cruiserweight. Krzysztof Glowacki. He put him away in 6, and then he beat up Prasovic. Like, who the hell are these guys? I know. So anyway, the thing with Okolie is, the guy was working at McDonald's like in before 2 Olympics ago. He was working in McDonald's. Saw Anthony Joshua in the Olympics in 2012, and said, "Hey, I think I'm gonna try to do this and change my life." That's kind of his origin story, if you will. So I'll check it out because it's on Sunday. Ain't no football on right now. I'll check it out. Fabio Wardley is another heavyweight that's on there. He's 12-0. He's taking on Daniel Marks, who's 29-1. I like Wardley. I believe he's a former football player, soccer player. Uh, Very raw. Coming into the sport a little later than normal. But I like what I've seen from the guy. He took out the teacher cat from the U.S. last fight. Okay, Volkova, I see you. Gal Yafai is also on here. He's just making his debut. Campbell Hatton on here, going for 6-0. We know he probably lost the fight. That he got a decision in last time out, I believe. Other than that, Anthony Fowler is on here. He's been up and down. He has 2 losses now. He's 15-2 against Lucas Maxiek. So, like I said, man, the zone right now, a lot of European fights. But next week, the zone has the best fight possible. Or probably has the best fight of the weekend. And one of the top three has to be one of the top three fights of the first quarter of 2022. Even though it's not the trilogy bout with Juan Francisco Estrada, but he's taking on Julio Cesar Martinez, who's coming up from a division down, stepping in place for Estrada. And I think, it's probably not going the distance. I'm just kind of wondering, is Martinez a little too small for Chocolatito? But I mean, it's going to be an entertaining fight. People want to see people get knocked out. People want to see big shots. I would expect that's going to be a war for however long it lasts, and that's coming up next weekend. Let's look at this. That's what I'm saying. Like, people can stay away from boxing for like 2 and 3 weeks at a time or a month at a time. Also next weekend is also on a Friday night, oddly, is Jose Ramirez and Jose Pedraza. Again, you might not like that matchup. Ramirez is trying to come back after being beat up by Josh Taylor. I think that one ended in a knockout. It happened so long ago. I know Taylor, decisively won the fight if it wasn't a knockout. I know he knocked him down. But Jose Ramirez is trying to work himself back into the mix at 140. Taylor is complaining about the sanctioning fees to remain, to remain an undisputed champion. So who knows after this Catterall fight, how many times he's going to pay these damn fees to hold on to these belts versus, letting them go and get these people out of your pocket, eating up your purse. But Ramirez and Pedraza, Pedraza, he's been in some pretty decent fights. Again, he doesn't really move the needle. Is not a marquee name. He kind of pushed Lomachenko to a degree. He had a good fight with Ray Beltran. He defeated Beltran out in Phoenix, Arizona. Pedraja's been, up and down. I think it's just going to be a good fight to, Mexico against Puerto Rico. I'll check that one out. But that's on Friday night. And then, like I said, next Saturday is the big one. Roman Gonzalez against Julio Cesar Martinez. So, if you can't enjoy that, then I don't know what boxing can do for you right now. Because the cupboards are pretty thin. Interestingly, though, looking further into March, we got Regis Prograis back in action against Tyrone McKenna. Regis is over here, is on this Pro Bellum. I'll be honest, I haven't really looked into Pro Bellum. It's some more shit I gotta pay for to check into it. I see I follow them on Instagram. They've signed a handful of guys. It's kind of, again, it's going with the international thing. And this is something, it's just my opinion and how I view things. But I see a lot of black boxing fans complaining. But if you're not picking up on the fact that shit is rapidly appearing to shift to an international approach, Like boxing is just dying in America. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. We can sit here and say whatever, 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 but boxing is struggling in America, and that's why Regis Prograis is fighting this shit overseas. Oshaki Foster, Shock, he's fighting overseas against Muhammad Kuya Yakubo. You know, I mean, brothers got to go out here. You got to travel nowadays. You got to have your passport. You got to get vaccinated, and you got to go across the world to earn some money right now. It's just the way things are. And then obviously, well, that got moved. Charlo and Castano, that got pushed back. So it's thin right now. Like I said, you know, I try. You can go for 2-3 weeks. You can go for 5 weeks at a time with boxing right now, and it's just not a lot on the calendar. So again, let me get on off of here. Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern time. 2 p.m. Eastern time. Another early card. Like I said, I would venture to say 3:30 p.m. You could probably check in for the Taylor and Catterall fight. And that's the main event. That's really all I'm gonna be checking for is the main event on that card. Saturday night, Colbert against somebody named Hector Luis Garcia, and then Gary Antoine Russell taking on Victor Postol. So that's Saturday night on Showtime. You know, like I said, Jerwin and Cajas, I'm cool with him, but it just seems like, you know, they were trying to get in with another Filipino fighter in the absence or the departure of Manny Pacquiao, and Cajas really hasn't burned up the world for me, but you know, he's still out there and he's in a good division at super flyweight, but he's kind of like the lesser known guy out of the division's big four. So that's it, man. Not a lot of boxing that really is gonna get people clicking on stuff and talking about it and any kind of big buzz. But again, you know, I kind of consider myself more of I just like boxing, man, and I tune in pretty regularly. That's all I'm gonna put. I tune in pretty regularly. So again, I want to see Taylor this weekend. If he does win, which I'm thinking he will, you know, what's his next move? Like I said yesterday, you know, with Terrence Crawford having his lawsuit pending against Top Rank, you know, that's what he would, you know, he acted on his own volition in filing his lawsuit, and he might get something from it, but it's not like a lot of offers are coming in for for Terrence Crawford to work. And it just seems like Josh Taylor is going to need a dance partner after this fight if he's successful in getting a victory. And I don't see no way in hell that fight gets made, you know, with this lawsuit out there, because Taylor is fights under the Top Rank banner. So I don't know. I don't know why Taylor is optimistic about them being able to work something out, unless you know, somebody from Top Rank who still has Terrence's number reaches out and says, "Hey, bro, get rid of this lawsuit. We'll make this fight. We give you your 5 or 6 million or whatever, and we get this fight done, and you know, find a way to rob your title from you if you don't knock him out, and we figure out what we do next." I don't know. It just, I'm not talking about the merit of the lawsuit itself, but I'm just saying the timing for Terrence Crawford in his career. It just seems like an odd time, and I hate to see you know, one of the biggest names in the sport, whether he sells tickets or not or whatever, he's still one of the best champions in the sport, and I hate to see the guy sidelined at a time when boxing is seems to be so down bad right now. That's just my take. But anyway, I'm gonna check out Taylor and Catterall Saturday. Check out on Gary Antoine Russell and Victor Postol. And then Sunday, I'll see what Okoli does against some guy I've never heard of, Michael Cieslak, over on the Zone. Let me get on out of here, man. Bite Down Boxing. Again, if you do bet on sports, please consider using betus.com.pa. And if you sign up with if you open an account and use the promo code join125, you know, they would know that you came from Bite Down Boxing, and they might holler at me with a 7 cents, 9 cents or something. You know, nothing too big. Nothing that will help me quit my day job. Let me get on out of here, man. Pay me no mind. Sports and entertainment, you don't have to be great to start, but you had to start to be great. Peace.